Hi everyone, I'm Luke Hector and you're watching The Broken Meeple. This is a YouTube channel about board games where I give reviews, top 10s and my honest opinions, regardless of the consequences. So in this quick video I'm going to talk about the solo mode for Wayfarers. Why am I doing it now rather than earlier? Because I kind of forgot.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
Whoops. Yes, I said I was going to look at it later when I recorded the actual review for Wayfarers and then went off and did something else. I think I was tired and I just sort of thought, oh yeah, I didn't do the solo bit. Whoops, and then I've just been busy the last few days, so it was like, finally, Wednesday evening I can actually get this solo mode talked about. Yeah, this won't take long though, there's not a huge amount to refer to. Essentially what it is another deck of scheme cards that you flip over for a solo AI bot. Very much like the recent fair that they've been doing. Now, in terms of their usual solo modes, they started off a little bit, not great, but then they quickly became some of my favourite solo modes to play. Viscounts was kind of the turning point for me. Viscounts of the West Kingdom's got a fantastic solo mode AI deck in it. You flip the card over, you check top, middle, bottom, what it can do. If it can't do it, you move on to the next one, and it doesn't take much to pilot, and it's a great way to play Viscounts solo. Now, Architects of the West Kingdom started off in an okay solo mode, but then when they brought out the recent expansion, they reworked it with that same setup, and again, it was a great way to play Architects solo, which, given that it's mostly for multiplayer, is saying something. That was quite a good feat. So now we got something similar for Wayfarers, although you've only got 6 cards. Doesn't seem like a lot. Well, essentially, because most of the solo mode is entirely the same as what you were doing in multiplayer. At least from your own perspective, you're doing exactly the same as you do in multiplayer. You do whatever cards and dice and various bits and bobs and journals and that you want to do. But essentially what you've got is you can flip over any of the player boards and give yourself one of 4 different AIs to fight against. The only difference majorly being though is that each one has a focus ability on it, which essentially means that it goes after a particular thing, so more often than not. So this one likes space, this one likes townsfolk, this one likes journaling, and this one likes times. There you go, pick your poison really. Aside from that, they've got minor differences with their placement boards, but it's not a huge deal. It's just a case of, right, this particular AI is likely to get more points from this than it is from this. What you essentially do is that on their turn, you flip over the top scheme card and it will be blue or red. It will have a silver value on it, and it will have a top and bottom action. You essentially try to see if it can do the top action. If not, it will do the bottom action. The silver amount is based on the priority system on here, so it may look complicated, but for the most part this is just a big priority diagram. It's essentially got a counter that goes around the middle here that dictates what color card it's likely to grab. So it's got blue, black, green, yellow, and based on where it is, it's likely to grab that particular color. But in terms of which card it grabs, you add up the silver values of the cards you've got, and basically, depending on what number they equate to, dictates whether it's going to take the card closest to the center of the board or closer to the deck. It's just basically a nice, pretty simple and quick way of determining, right, the AI gets a green card, free, yeah, that one. It doesn't take too long to figure out in your head. Now, with the color relevance, basically you carry on doing actions for the AI until you have played 3 of the same color. There's 3 red and 3 blue, basically. You do not add any new cards to the scheme deck, unlike other ones. But here you go, 2 blue, so it does that action. 3 blue. Alright, it's going to rest now after I've done the 3 blues. Although if I mixed and matched, red, it could have actually had a fair few actions, and then as soon as I play the 5th one, right, now it's resting. So it can have somewhere between 3 to 5 turns, basically, before it decides it wants to rest. And when resting, it's pretty straightforward. It's just the fact that it will decide, right, I'm going to try and journal at this point, and then go for it. And depending on whether it's behind you, or equal with you, or ahead of you, it will journal as fast as it can. Now, apart from that, the AI is pretty straightforward. It's going to get points at the end of the game based on what cards it's acquired, except it doesn't faff around too much with how they score. It's more just, alright, I got a green card, it's worth a point. I got a black card, it's worth 3. I got an inspiration, it's worth 4. They've just got flat figures. The slight detriment, though, is that it doesn't care about a lot of the resources in the game. Now, most AIs don't. Usually the AI is like, okay, fine, to make it simple, they don't need coins, they don't need provisions or whatever. This goes one step a little too far in some respects, because what happens here is that the AI doesn't care about the prerequisites for most stuff they do. When it comes to journaling and when it comes to grabbing cards, they pretty much have like one currency they care about, which is essentially the influence. If they've got the influence, they will spend it and they will grab stuff. But aside from that, they don't care about coins, they don't care about provisions, they don't really care that much about any of the prerequisites other than that, especially when it comes to having the right amount of tags to grab a card. So they literally just hoover up stuff at a random pace. And I do mean random, because you can have times where the AI sort of gets a little bit stagnated and ends up in a slight stalemate situation, or it can just propel miles into the future because it can grab something that just instantly gives it a huge bonus, and unlike me, who has to go through loads of hoops in order to get to that point, it just goes, I'm the AI. Sucks to be you, I get to cheat, basically. It's a cheating AI. Now, the problem with that is that sometimes you don't necessarily feel if you've won or lost based on your choices. It can feel very punishingly difficult at times, or straight up simple as all get out, because it really does depend on what combos the AI just happens to get thrown into. It doesn't behave enough like a multiplayer opponent. It takes the odd card, it takes a few things there, it puts influence down, and that's stuff that multiplayer does, but it will just pick random stuff based on what it's done. The fact that it's just acquiring stuff willy-nilly means it's going at a pace which is kind of unlike a human player. It will either, it's either going to play like a very bad player, or it's going to play like somebody who is blatantly cheating. And it's very hard to catch up with the AI if they do get lucky and propel themselves forward like that. So even though I'm enjoying what I'm doing, which is, I get to make all the card combos, I'm going to grab a space one, I'm going to do this, grab this inspiration, that's all well and good. The AI is just kind of there, really. It's setting an arbitrary point level for you to reach, and that's kind of about it, really. It's not quite beat your own score, it's beat the AI score, but you don't know what score you're beating. And even then, it's like, I got this score, and I beat the AI by 20 points. Okay, next time it beats you by 30. It's hard to kind of gauge whether you did better or worse in one game, or whether the AI, was more powerful what it did, because again, it's just random what it does, but then it's also cheating to get what it needs. If there was a few more ways for it to be limited on resources and grab cards based on those resources, you could almost maybe try and pilot yourself in such a way that you can sort of block the AI from doing little bits. But as it is, there's not a lot of scope you have to really hinder the AI's plans. You might be able to stifle its movement on the journal track, but that's about it, and even then, you're probably going to want to do what you want to do on the journal track, not what it wants to do, because you have no idea what it will do. The cards you're going to grab as necessary, and that's, again, you're just doing what you're doing. You're not really caring too much about what it is doing until you get to the end and realise what score it is. So, this AI is fine, in the sense that I get to play this game, which I already love, check out my other video for the actual review, but that's about it, really. This is definitely a step back, I think, compared to the previous two AIs that we've had. The Architects Revised one and Viscounts are brilliant solo AIs. I love those in those games. I don't know what the Paladins one is, but frankly, I might have played it solo a couple of times, I think, when I first reviewed it, but I don't know what it's been like since then, or what City of Crowns has done. But I remember that being a half-decent solo mode, but then, frankly, Paladins was pretty much all solo anyway. So, with this one, yes, I get to enjoy what I'm doing with all the card stuff, but I feel that I'm playing the solo mode mainly just to have fun with that, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I like this game, I like to do all the card combos and see what sort of thing I can create. That's still fun, it's just the target of what you're trying to beat feels a little bit kind of like, a little bit arbitrary, a little bit like, it's whatever. It almost might as well have just been beat your own score, because that's kind of what it equates to. It's just giving you a very random, very chaotic score to beat, which you don't know what it's going to be like, and don't have a lot of influence over, like, controlling what it does. It's just there, it does its thing, and then by the end of the game it says, right, I got the score of this, did you beat it? Oh, I thought I was doing really well, but you just somehow got all that lot. Well, what else can you do? So, overall, the Wayfarers solo mode is, it's hard to say, it's still fun, but you have to bear in mind that this is not to the same levels as the previous solos. I mean, the solo Architects and Viscounts were brilliant. This is good. It functions, it's not difficult to pilot, you've only got to, micromanage 6 cards and just understand how their priority system works. So other than that, it's a pretty simple AI. There's not even that many rules in the solo book to go with it, really. I mean, what have we got here? Like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's about it, yeah. 4 pages for the solo mode, so it really won't take you long to get to grips with it. It's just not likely to be a game I'm going to pull out solo a lot compared to multiplayer. So I'd give it a 7 out of 10 overall. It's good. Not great. I like to use it every now and again if I just want to have fun with the system more than anything else. But in terms of having a calculating opponent, or like a one that I can have influence and control and try and, if I do this, maybe I can scupper their plans, that's not really the system. So you're going to be put off slightly by that. But 7 out of 10, it's fine, but not quite to the caliber that it has been in the past. Hopefully when we do Scholars and that going forward, we'll move away from this whole cheating AI system and kind of be a bit more multiplayer interactive. But again, it depends on what the games that come out. So that's it for me on this episode of The Broken Meeple. If you like what you see, remember, you thumb it up here, thumb it up on Board Game Geek, put your comments down below. Do you like the solo mode? Do you like the previous solo modes? Is there one that you find a favourite? Are you mainly playing this multiplayer anyway? Do you like the way that the AI works in this? Like I say, get your thoughts. I'd like to read them. And of course, consider the Patreon if you want to help this channel get more copies of games like this, because this wasn't a review copy, this was my own purchase, in order to give you my thoughts. Until next time, you can check out more content on the channel, including how about the review I did for Wayfarers in the first place? Why not check that one out? Because I would have thought you would have checked that one out before you came here. But if not, go watch it again. Whatever. Take care, and remember, as always, whether you want to play this on your own or with your friends, it's still only a game. Bye for now.